Let's watch and react to this video together, and I can show you or help explain to you why myself and all my other gamer friends who are in their 30s, who also mained and enjoyed Warzone, hopped over to Fortnite and seem to be a little bit happier now. Let's jump in. Tdawgsmitty's Why Fortnite Players Are Happier Than CoD Players video. It's doing really well for him. He's a great content creator, CoD player. He's got another Star Wars channel that's doing well right now. He's a great guy. Make sure you subscribe. Check out his YouTube. Check out his Twitter. And give the guy some love. He does a great job. The reason why I'm reacting to this video is because I think I can offer a little bit of a unique insight in that I was a heavy Warzone player from Verdansk. I think Season 3 I started. Really grinded Rebirth. You know, was active on the Rebirth sweats. You know, didn't do great. Didn't ever claim to be the best, but spent probably close to $2,000 on that game. Fell out of love with Warzone 2. Tried Fortnite back, you know, in last New Year, around January. This is my first solo build, first solos no build victory royale for this noob. I posted on January 16th. So that's when I about started playing Fortnite. And I really fell in love with the game. And I think I can offer kind of a little bit of insight into why certain players, especially Warzone players, may have opted for Fortnite, or at least tried it out, whether they liked it or not, and can maybe offer some insight into their perspective when they play Fortnite, which is a vastly different experience in Warzone. So let's hear what Tdawgsmitty has to say and just kind of react along.
Have you ever noticed how Call of Duty players never seem to be as happy as Fortnite players? Well, today we're gonna go over 5.
That's pretty subjective too. I'm sure if you follow only Call of Duty players on Twitter, you probably think they're miserable. And if you follow only Fortnite players on Twitter, you'll think they're only miserable. They complain about everything too, because that's true. And people mostly just, it's a lot easier to say something negative in life about anything than it is something positive. So that's mostly what you see. But for the most part, I do think, and I've been, honestly, much happier on Fortnite overall. It's got its ups and downs, and its good and bad days like anything else.
Reasons that might just shock you. Let's get into it. Movement. Movement plays a key role in the flow and gameplay of Fortnite and CoD, as they both are shooter games at their core. Fortnite started out with basic movement upon release. There was walking and running, more so a jog. Honestly, a leisurely jog.
It was so slow back then.
Obviously, a jumping mechanic alongside a crouching mechanic. These were the only 4 movements in Fortnite for multiple seasons.
Those are all real people too, not bots.
Everything was perfect.
They're horrible.
Fast forward into 2022 with the release of Chapter 3 Season 2. Mantling and a full-on tactical sprint are finally added to the game. Mantling works as you'd expect. See a ledge, pull yourself up and climb over. Want to be cool?
You don't hang there like a monkey like in Call of Duty.
To get even higher.
Hang there, pull your pistol out. That's what I want to do.
Amazingly as well. Each player has a stamina bar that refills automatically, but allows players to get.
So this can be kind of controversial. The stamina bar he's talking about is that white bar down there. And I know a lot of my friends and myself personally think Fortnite would flourish if it had unlimited tac sprint or unlimited stamina. So you could sprint whenever you liked. You could still walk. You know, you don't need to change it to sprint only because, you know, walking has its place still. But I think it'd be much better. When you play enough Fortnite, you have to realize that the sprint is another resource that you have to manage, just like your health or shield.
Get a quick burst of speed. This is how most games do mantling and tactical sprinting. So Fortnite didn't invent this movement, but rather found a way to incorporate it into their own game. Players loved it. There was a slight learning curve, but for the most part, Fortnite is now hard to imagine without these new movements. Then, on December 2nd of 2023, Chapter 5 Season 1 released and changed movement for the worst. Epic Games decided
for the worst for build players. It was fine for zero build, in my opinion.
And were a much needed improvement, when in reality, they were rough. The biggest change was the flow from walking to running to sprinting. While the animations between each stage looked really flowy, it made for a movement speed that felt much
I can
more
see what he's
slower
saying.
and
Yeah.
borderline.
I feel like you're kind of running
the
through mud
point of
sometimes.
Tactical sprint. Walking felt like players were stuck in glue, and
So this is really funny. Like without his perspective, if you looked at the comments of this Twitter post, there was a 0.02, I think, second difference between these two tile walks or whatever. And it really, you know, it's just the animations that changed. And right now, as it stands right now, because they did patch the movement again after this, it is awesome. The movement is fantastic. Sprinting, the strafing, it's all fluid. It feels faster, I think, because it is faster, if I remember correctly. It's just wonderful right now.
Jogging and sprinting felt the same. Pretty much the community hated this decision, but Epic Games did something that not a lot of devs do. They asked for feedback and took it.
Like right away.
You guessed it. 2 weeks later, Epic puts out an update reverting the movement. So as of now, players are once again satisfied with all the movement, and all it took was Epic Games listening to the community. Now, movement in Call of Duty,
Not quite true. They didn't like totally revert it. They didn't quite revert it back to exactly what it was before. They just tweaked something. I can't remember exactly what they did, but there was a brief period in between the initial movement change and then what we have now that it was a little bit better than what it was before, but still not as good as what we have now. It's fantastic what we have now. Have I said that yet?
sprint. And believe it or not, COD 3 was the first Call of Duty where sprint was brought in. So early CODs had walking, crouching, sprinting, and even mantling. There was also dolphin diving, which eventually switched into sliding.
Amazing.
Players could also crawl when going prone. Then the jetpack era hit, and exosuits added a whole new kind of movement that was groundbreaking.
Awesome.
It was shortly reverted back.
Go play Titanfall if you want it.
Which movement in COD
this is
stayed
still
the
fun.
same until around 2019 with the Modern Warfare reboot. Tactical sprint was added, and mantling was overhauled. Slide canceling became the new meta, and it felt like a refreshing breath of air for longtime COD fans. Whether an intentional feature or not, fans
it was not intentional.
So in COD Modern Warfare 2, they did the most logical move. They took it out. Yeah, fans were outraged. The devs at Infinity Ward, however, had other plans and ignored.
Look at that, hanging on the ledge with the little pistol instead of just jumping right over.
Lifespan, causing player counts to go way down. Multiple months of community feedback seem to have been thrown in the trash. Unlike with Fortnite, it took them 2 weeks. Now, we're finally getting...
Oh yeah, Epic could be like, hey, we've heard your feedback, and we'd like more. In this thread below, put out what your thoughts are about the movement, but keep it respectful. Infinity Ward, what they did when Modern Warfare 2 released, all they did was to be like, look how many copies we sold. We're the best. Season 2 coming up in 6 months. Enjoy the RPK. And we did not enjoy the RPK. We did not.
Somewhere as Sledgehammer Games steps in to market MW3. Activision decides to advertise the old movement as a selling point for the new game. So rather than fix it in the current game, they decided to advertise it for the next. You can see the disconnect here. A studio that listens in 2 weeks or a studio that doesn't listen at all. It shouldn't take a whole entire year for community feedback to be acted upon. Create a class. Whoa, Tdawg. Fortnite doesn't have a create a class system. It's probably what you're saying right now. You'd actually be wrong to make
record scratch. Now they do.
That claim, kind of. At the start of this game's life, it had a loot pool rather than a create a class system. This was due to its nature of being
it still has a loot pool too.
Royale game. The loot had its own ranks, starting at common, then uncommon, then rare, then epic, to the best of the best.
That's still all true.
Legendary. Epic Games would just add in guns and their different tiers with different stats as seasons went on. That is until Chapter 5, Season 1, when Epic Games finally implemented the long-awaited attachment system that had been leaked and discussed extensively for about a year or two. It's very basic, and it kind of reminds me of what COD used to be. Guns can have multiple attachment options.
Multiple attachments with no
There's two
no
to three
negatives.
options with just about every single one. Now, they alter how you use the gun in battle and pretty clearly explain how the
bigger mag does take longer to reload.
The play style. Players can either just hope that they get a good attachment when picking up guns, or they can find a workbench and use gold to make their own custom class. It's clear Epic Games took the time to make
it's definitely changing Fortnite.
and unique for Fortnite.
Yeah,
Call of
it's a
Duty
huge
has gone
change.
through many
It's a huge change from what it was before. You know, if it's an iron sight in season 5, it's a third-person gun, the ARs. If you put, or the SMGs, or the shotguns. If you put now you can put a sight on it, an optic, and it becomes first person. So sometimes you pick up a shotgun, you go to ADS it, and it's like this little, you're looking through this little red dot now, and you're and you know, yeah, it's weird.
variations of create a class, with its most recent being
cool, though.
the
It's a
worst
big
rendition
change.
of the franchise. It started out with a basic pick your soldier type of feel. Then, in COD 4, a system that allowed players to pick attachments, perks, and grenades
Man, remember this.
was implemented before eventually evolving into the Pick 10 system fans know and love. Pick 10 is the idea that a player has 10 slots in a given class. They choose how they get filled up. Players
That's probably
could
the best
have 2
system.
guns, each with 4 attachments, but then they can't
No
get
perks.
perks or lethals or tactical grenades.
Want perks?
This
Lose some attachments.
incentivizes the player to consciously make a class with limited resources and that best fits how they want to play.
You know, and then come Vanguard comes around, and the Vanguard iteration on Warzone, your Vanguard guns can have 10 attachments. So all the cons, or any con from one attachment, you know, negative ADS time, you can just throw on another attachment that has plus ADS time. Everything just cancels each other out. So everything just like suddenly, what's the point anymore? And you got all your perks and everything. Like it was getting a little crazy.
Let's not even address World War II's create a class system. It was bad. Go check out my thoughts on the divisions in my World War II video. In 2019, all previous systems were ditched for Gunsmith, which wasn't bad for the Modern Warfare reboot, but lacked any flair. As the games continued, the system got more and more convoluted.
This is absolutely ridiculous,
in
Modern Warfare 2.
3, we have 100 attachment options for the scope alone.
That's
Don't even
just
get
brutal.
me started on how convoluted the MW2 system was. You'd spend 20 minutes making one class, and the way you unlocked attachments
Look at all
and
this.
guns was
You wanna
insane.
unlock
It felt
that?
like
Use
a
the
scavenger
shotgun,
hunt.
and then you
Just to
can
find
use
the
an
attachment you
SMG
need.
to
Weapon tuning
get the
was
grip.
just
Then
ridiculous.
this.
And thank goodness they removed it in MW.
What I want to do when I play Call of Duty is look at a fucking graph of math like that. A graph of math when I play Call of Duty. After I've done picking my 20 attachments and scrolling sideways on huge blocks like I'm in a mobile Netflix or Hulu, instead of just the old way where you just scroll up and down and everything's in a nice list. After choosing all the attachments taking 25 minutes, because I've now earned my PhD in gunsmith and I know how to use the gunsmith and build a gun in Call of Duty after leveling my weapons, taking several hours. Now I can finally play the game. After I've done picking all the attachments, now I have to tune them all and put the little slider, so I have the perfect amount of, you know, threshold where it goes to the thing and it's not over the little line, but it is on the, oh my God. No, I never want to do that again. I'm getting worked up thinking about it.
W3. Yet Activision and the devs continue to ignore the community on what we want for a creator class.
The UI is
which
horrible. This is
just
horrible.
for
This is the new
Big
game.
Ten to come back.
This is the
I
new
mean, come on,
Modern Warfare 3.
Activision.
It's horrible.
It's not that hard. I'm gonna quote my grandpa on this one. Keep it simple, stupid. We just need to apply that to everything in gaming nowadays. Maps. Fortnite has always been known for the Chapter 1 map. It had iconic landmarks, great terrain, and solid amounts of space to run around while remaining simple. It never tried to do anything fancy, even when the locations would change throughout the seasons. Epic
it did
Games
try to do
adds
fancy stuff.
Volcano? Sure. Fans loved it. It felt like
And
a
fans
normal
didn't always
addition.
love it,
Then,
but that's
Epic
normal.
Games
That's
implemented
human.
chapters as a way to easily start fresh with a new map rather than keep the same
But
one
you do get a
players
lot of new
knew
stuff.
like the back of their hands. Each chapter map has been received fine enough, but some
You get far more map changes and freshness playing Fortnite than you do Call of Duty. Freshness is the key word. Right now, it's a little stale. We haven't had an update since December 2nd, and right now it's January 5th. And that's a very long time. 1 month or so? Like, whew, that's a long time. Expecting one soon. But normally it's not that long. You get a lot. It's just stays fresh. Probably have to because it helps that they have a younger player base overall. So just helps to kind of churn things up more often.
Sometimes they feel too complex and too big and don't always capture the magic of the OG map. So what did Epic Games recently do to help remedy that and bring old players back? They made a
nostalgia
all about OG Fortnite, where they not only brought back weaponry from the early seasons, but also the map. That's right, the entire OG map.
Because
was
nostalgia
back.
sells
Even
and companies know it.
That season has ended. Epic Games has decided that at some point in 2024, they will make the OG map a permanent mode alongside whatever map is.
The reason they didn't do that initially is because it was just kind of a random idea. I remember reading a thread on Twitter about it that some dev just kind of said in a meeting one day, what if we have a season dedicated to just the OG map or chapter 1 map? And then they're all just kind of like wide-eyed. We're like, whoa. And then, brainstorm from there.
Is active. How's that for listening to the community? For the longest time, Call of Duty was also known for
we'll see if it becomes
insanely
permanent or
cool maps. Nuketown, Raid, Splash, Dome, Terminal, and Hijack, just to name a few. Whether it was the base game or DLC, COD devs always put their all into the maps, of which most were 3-lane design. That all changed when Warzone released in 2020. Modern Warfare 19 already had some iffy maps in it due to the
maps were horrible. The game is dying, and Warzone saved Modern Warfare 19.
But once
People forget
Warzone
that.
released, things changed forever. Verdansk was massive and arguably one of the best maps in Battle Royale history. It was even followed up with Rebirth, which was a map based on the Zombies map and real-world location Alcatraz.
Bonk.
Both of these maps were insanely
God,
cool,
I miss
but resulted in
running
two
an ATV.
problems. Modern Warfare 19's multiplayer no longer got original maps, but rather segments ripped from Verdansk. This trend
Multiplayer's dying, don't really care.
Following games, Modern Warfare 2 barely had original maps at launch. Every single multiplayer map was based around El Mazrah. Now let's go back to Verdansk. The devs couldn't make as many changes to Verdansk POIs due to the massive scale and graphical power of their engine. It would take months to make changes, while Fortnite can make changes within a few weeks thanks to its small scale. As future updates to Warzone happened, Verdansk was eventually
because they have a superior engine that's much more optimized. That's why they can make more changes.
And Caldera were permanently
Modern Warfare engine is
alongside
garbage.
Rebirth and Fortune's Keep. You guessed it, this resulted in a big player loss, as Warzone 2 map was mediocre at best. To make matters worse,
yeah, sorry. So what he said there was, as soon as Modern Warfare 2 was released and Warzone 2 was released, specifically when Warzone 2 was released, they cut off access to Fortune's Keep and Rebirth Island completely because they didn't have confidence in their new product, people who play their new product, Warzone 2. Now it's pretty unprecedented. There's no pre-mention of that or anything or communication from that from Raven, Activision, or any of the studios. So that was another reason why I switched over to Fortnite, and another reason why it was easy to convince all of my boys to come over and try Fortnite when we had a really good time. I would hop over there, and after the first 4 or 5 games that you just slaughter bots, I have the drive in me to try and become a better and better player, and I knew I was getting smoked by players that were mediocre to slightly good. And I wanted to be able to at least beat the mediocre players, and you're able to beat them. Then you get killed by people that are slightly better than them, and you just want to keep going and going and going. For me, anyway, I always want to try to be the best player I can. So that's what kind of, incentivized me to stay on the game, Fortnite, and play it. But also because it was fun. It's extremely fun to play. And you go on Warzone 2, you can't do anything. Nothing's fun. Half the time it's not working right or performing poorly. It's just, it wasn't a hard switch. And I can see why a lot of people are disillusioned with Warzone, or not happy at least, and would come over here and just have a fun time. Yeah, you get snagged you get hooked in big time by the 5 easy wins you get at first.
The first time Call of Duty has ever done this. Warzone 2 is then renamed to just Warzone. And you better believe the community didn't like this. We're going on now, it feels like 2 years of continuing to ask for Verdansk and continuing to ask for Rebirth to come back. And they finally listened to us. But honestly, I don't think it's because the community asked for it. I think it's their desire to be relevant again and having to compete with Fortnite game modes.
Yeah.
Fortnite has really stepped up its game in the party game modes department and is putting a lot of pressure on every studio out there. Obviously,
I don't know what he means by that, but Fortnite specifically has been criticized by the Fortnite community for the lack of LTMs. I think the last LTM was like a year or two ago, until we got the most recent one called Ship It Express, which is like a throwables and heals only. So like grenades, the rift to goes, which are like throw down a thing and like junk from the sky would fall on somebody. It's a hilarious item. It's totally Fortnite. But like stuff like that, you know, Firefly jars, that only in a BR setting, not even like a 50 versus 50, but like in a BR setting, throwables only. That was the most recent LTM in like the last year or so. So I disagree with him saying, you know, Fortnite goes crazy on their LTMs. You know, nowadays they do have Lego Fortnite, Rocket Racing, and Fortnite Festival, which is like Rock Band. So they're definitely spread out more, and there is much, much more to do nowadays. Absolutely. But it's not quite like, you know, the Battle Royale or like with shooting.
The main mode of Fortnite's BR
which isn't a criticism,
but now there's a permanent mode specifically for those who don't want to build.
This is obviously all I play.
Banned. They also have a mode called Creative. This is where they give tools to players to make their own party
that haircut.
modes, from
cut your
horror
hair
maps to a working Hunger Games. On top of that, Epic Games have released their very own version of Guitar Hero and a base builder survivor game mode called Lego Fortnite. This allows players to
This is going to be insanely popular once the general masses figure out
if creative
that they're going to enjoy
Fortnite, does that mean, yep, COD has lost so many players due to their poor decision making that gamers have resorted to making their own COD games. Now, this is something that bothered me as a multiplayer fan. I, for one,
this
am a
never
big
caught
fan
on,
of party
but
games,
he has a point.
gun games, sticks and stones, all that. I also
Gun
enjoy
game is so much
playing
fun.
on those
That's
classic
what I play
maps
creative
that we
Fortnite.
talked about. Nuketown being one of my favorite maps.
Nuketown
Something
rules.
that COD Mobile does so well is the ability to put everything that's
It's much
good
easier
about
to port it
COD
and it's
in
different
one game. Call of Duty needs to stop removing stuff and then re-adding it in to play later on. Gunfight, amazing. Wasn't it the launch of MW2? Gun game, again, launched with Modern Warfare 3, taken out of the game for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
The funniest part of all this,
it's all
you
multiplayer
can
crap, though. It's
go on
always been
Fortnite
multiplayer
right
problems.
now, boot into one of their mini games and play gun game on Nuketown in Fortnite.
You can do that in Halo as well.
Should I be able to play
This might be
Nuketown
DMCA
gun
by
game
now because
on
Activision
Fortnite
is crazy.
and not be able to play
But you can play it in
on Call of
Halo, and
Duty.
it's obviously
Back
not the
in
same.
Good days of COD, you could play any party mode
The good
at
days of
any
COD.
time. If you were in the mood for it, it was there. Now you have
Look how
to schedule your time around the
honestly
party
crap
modes,
the gunplay
and
is.
sometimes party
a
modes
level up
aren't
from
even
Doom,
in
bro.
the game. So it's the same boring core game modes we've all played to death. Give us every mode at launch. Cosmetics.
Uh-oh.
Cosmetics. The best and the worst thing to happen to gaming. Fortnite cosmetics.
Can I just say I would love it if he could just, you know, pull this down. Pull it down. Make it even, Tdawg. I love you, though.
Are insane. Their skins, pickaxes, weapon skins.
That's a backbling.
Emotes with licensed music, loading screens, soundtracks, and so much more. What is this, an ad? Fortnite collabs with every movie, show, game, book, just about anything ever. It's a meme by now that you could say, it's the guy from Fortnite. And suddenly,
It's so true, man.
years down the road, it becomes true. I mean, who would have thought Peter Griffin would be in Fortnite? Epic Games is not afraid to make crazy cosmetics and they have a pretty affordable price. The average skin and pickaxe combo can run you just about $10. Skins also work really well because the game is played from the third person. Add in a really solid battle pass.
But it's so much easier to spend money here.
Copy and never does so successfully. And honestly, Epic Games
Chapter 4,
to
Season 1 trailer.
Boom! In the cosmetics
Look
side
how
of
good
things.
that looks, man.
Aiding this is
Medieval.
the cartoon-like art style.
Best
that
movement
allows
item.
The game to be silly rather than grounded in realism. Now, COD saw this success, so
it's a cartoon art style, but like with this Unreal Engine 5, it's slightly realistic as well. At least the POIs and the environment. So it's a perfect blend of both, and it's fantastic to play on, man. It looks so good. Get a PC, put your graphics up high. It looks so good, man. Performance mode, you don't need that. You're not going to become a pro. Let Fortnite look good and enjoy it. That shockwave hammer, that's one of the reasons why I got hooked on this game immediately. You go and use that, you press L2 to move, your guy slams a hammer on the ground and goes flying. You can press R2 when you're in the air and slam down somebody. They go flying and take fall damage. So much fun, man. So much fun. Like, that's coming from after Warzone 2 when you're just like, lugging around everywhere, and then when you shoot, like, you come out of this game and it's just smooth, looks fantastic, the POIs are great, loot pool was awesome, and you have one of the most fun movement items of all time. No wonder people, have a better time.
Usually do, they attempted to make it work on their own games. COD also has an item shop and a battle pass, but they feel pointless, and they just copy what Fortnite has already done. Also, this is one of the most confusing things in the entire world. I still don't know how to unlock everything.
Me either, Tdawg.
Call of Duty is a first-person
No
shooter,
one does.
And I think this is why they've been adding a couple things that weren't in Call of Duty before. They've added executions, also the winning circle. All of these
Execution's my most favorite part of the game by far.
Because otherwise,
you see your hands, and the skins are so exorbitantly priced. You're spending 26 Canadian on a skin that you never see unless you do an execution. That was one of the reasons why I like execution so much, because I got to actually look at my operator and vehicles, like an ATV, because I got to look at my dude's butt, my operator.
You wouldn't see it. They also have some calling cards that fill up the shop packs that, honestly, I don't think I've ever equipped before in my entire life.
Yeah.
COD also does collabs. Nicki Minaj and Attack on Titans. To be honest with you, I think that these are cool, but sometimes they don't really fit the vibe of the game. Call of Duty has a more realistic take on its art style. So sometimes when you get these skins, for example, the rat, they can feel like a cheap cosplay, almost like the guy's wearing it.
I think we're past that though. I think we got to get past that. If we're not past it, just get past it. Get over it. I don't want to say get a grip, but like, people have always liked to have flair, and I understand you like realism, but the COD is not realism, and the most realistic game we had, Modern Warfare 2, was the least favorite. People have always liked flair in their characters. I remember playing SOCOM 2 and SOCOM 3 in 2003 and 2005, respectively, when they released. And there were characters that you could unlock by playing single player, like a terrorist on the terrorist team. You could get a guy that wore this like navy blue sweater, and on a terrorist team, again, they were mostly terrorists. On the Frostfire map, you could get this like Navy boat captain, this fisher boat captain who was in a bright yellow rain poncho, and he had a captain's hat on. Everybody wore him because they liked flair. In SOCOM 3, again on the terrorist team, this is just off the top of my head, and again in 2005, there was a scientist character lady who is in a bright white lab coat, and she had hilarious voice lines too, a hilarious voice actress. And everybody wore her because it was hilarious. Like the Milsim skins, yeah, they all, you want to wear those year after year after year after year. You have to have some fun stuff. And might I also say this, the Boys collab, when they had the items that did cool stuff, like they gave you abilities. I know you don't want to turn this into Overwatch, but that was some of the most fun I've ever had on Modern Warfare 2. Probably, no, it was easily the most fun. The movement with the super jump. Do you guys remember that? Super jumping all the way across, landing on people, doing damage to them, and then shooting. That was Fortnite-esque. That was awesome. Why was it awesome? Because it was fun, not realistic.
On his head. Mix that with the fact that the skins cost on average about $20. It really is tough to justify that price. I will say, however, gun skins seem to be the best way to go for COD. Take a look at the Doom guns. The chainsaw and the shotgun look like they did from the OG game, and they even run at a lower FPS. That
I actually don't like that.
Super cool.
But it's very cool.
COD should embrace gun skins.
It just trips me out too much.
Player skins, and they should also feel free to be creative.
Gun skins are really cool. They had so many cool ones in Vanguard and Cold War.
COD Mobile again has done well.
Yeah, sure, COD Mobile, but these are like $300.
So I think we could see the main games.
They had great ones in Vanguard and Cold War
era. Just go crazy.
And then none again after that.
Side, I'm going to give Activision credit. They finally listened to the community and removed loot boxes from their games, which was arguably more predatory than anything they've ever done cosmetically recently. I would truly be down to see a new weapon blueprint come.
It's illegal in some countries.
Every single day. Conclusion. After going over all the similarities and differences between Fortnite and COD, I hope it is now easier to see why Fortnite continues to dominate the arcade shooter market. Not only does Epic Games implement systems into their games better than COD does,
I guess they're an arcade shooter.
Also listen to their community more. If Fortnite fans verbalize something they want in their game, Epic Games
yes and no.
rush to make amends rather than ignoring the fans and using their wants as a selling point for a future game. Now that being said, Modern Warfare 3 seems to be a turning point. Sledgehammer Games has done a great job of addressing the wants of the COD fans with MW3. With Treyarch on the horizon and them being known for also listening to the community.
I'm excited for the Treyarch iteration of COD.
We may be doomed to repeat the same cycle of mistakes that COD always seems to fall into.
So he's got a good point, but I also would like to say about the about Sledgehammer getting it right and just fixing everything. I disagree. So I don't play the game, but I follow it closely on Twitter, and it was really funny to see a lot of different people after they did their huge movement buff, say, you know, it'd be really great if we could do stuff after a slide and there was no delay. Or, you know, tac sprint was better and it wasn't so clunky at the end or something like that. And it would be a lot better if we could B-hop. I would love to B-hop. And then my favorite one, Excel. Raven and Sledgehammer back from holiday means we should maybe remind them that they promise freedom of movement, but all we've gotten so far is bot jogging from lack of tactical sprint duration and annoying delays nobody asked for after sliding using stem shot. And that was their whole marketing thing. Hey, we fixed sliding. You can do stuff. Slide cancel is here. It's not like it was before, but it's here. Hey, everyone. Editor Otter here. Just trying to wrap up the video, stop me from rambling too much. I think it's pretty easy to see why people prefer or why people tend to be happier on Fortnite compared to Call of Duty, whether it's the cosmetics, the price of the shop, how much money you get to spend for what you get, the better performance, fewer crashes, more fun, goofy stuff you can do with the boys, not having to spend several hours before you even play to level up guns and level up this and that. You can just log on Fortnite, use whatever you want, and it will be the best it could ever be. And you will have the most fun you could ever have. Anyway, you guys can check me out on YouTube. I stream almost every day. I try to upload almost every day as well. Make sure to give Tdawgsmitty a follow as well. Check out his content. Love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.